Everybody, it's the first Thursday of the month. It's 3 o'clock. That can only mean one thing. We are on D-Win Live, broadcasting all over Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So I want to welcome two of my favorite people, Jamil Zabaneh. Let me, hold on. Yes, one of them is Jamil Zabaneh.
You gotta double check that.
And the solution of some,
it's all day.
I'm telling you, bro, it's a tough crowd.
and the solution of some solutionist himself, Sandy Cerami, from the great state of New Jersey.
Oh, tap the brakes on that, brother. We're working through some issues here in New Jersey. Trust me.
So today, hot topic today, Google My Business. We've got two experts joining us, Tyler Wilson from J&L Marketing and the great Matt Kellogg from the Gates Auto Group. I've said this many times. I don't know a lot of dealers, anybody that's doing Google My Business better than what Matt does. He's all over it. He owns it. If you are a dealer out there and you've got someone managing this for you, this is exactly the strategy, the mindset that you want, from a person in that position. So let's do our video real quick, guys, and then we'll bring Matt and Tyler in, okay?
Let's do it, baby.
All right.
All right, let's get this show on the road, everybody. Welcome to D-Win. First off, this is a discussion amongst dealers, general managers, service managers, marketing managers. We want a lot of interaction, a lot of Q&A.
So we've got to be out there in the marketplace perpetually sharing the good news about what we've got to offer at our organization.
I mentioned cash flow. That's something that dealerships should start looking at, especially when PPP money starts running out, inventory starts getting tight, top line sales might start deteriorating a little bit. Just plan out your cash flow for 18 weeks and just keep it rolling and make sure there's no surprise down the line.
There's about 9 SKUs in tires that you need to keep in inventory, and you can satisfy 80% of the market. And that is another excuse that dealers, quite frankly, have used forever to not get in the business. You know, they take up too much space. I can't keep all the tires in stock. It's just not true.
We all know that growth is a state of mind, and if you build the value, the growth will be there. But it's not necessarily anymore building the value in the product as much as it is in the process.
I think that's a monster opportunity.
All right. There they are. Tyler Wilson, Matt Kellogg, welcome.
Hello.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, Scott, I'm gonna have to step the game up a little bit here on D-Win. I want to introduce my man, Mr. Matt Kellogg. I think in a rightful way. Is that okay?
I
know him as
you've got the radio. You have the radio voice. You can just.
I have the radio face. I have radio face, Scott. It's the face perfect for radio. But I want to acknowledge our two guys because they are, in my opinion, two of the top rated experts on Google My Business. And I've been told by many a person that Matt Kellogg is also known as the reigning king of automotive e-com. Is that true, Matty?
Well, I can offer my expertise where I know where it is. But, my thing is if you can't show it, if you can't measure it, then what are you doing?
100%. But just wear the crown, baby. Wear the crown. I'm putting the iron on the top of your head right now.
There's a lot of great folks out there.
My man Tyler Wilson, a.k.a. the Digital Whiz Kid, is going to lend his expertise here today, too. I'm excited about this because, quite honestly, you guys introduced me to the whole Google My Business platform, and I think it's a game changer for every dealership, quite honestly, any business in the marketplace today. So I'm excited for this topic today, Scott.
I am too. Jamil, do you have anything to add, or are you just going to sit there?
I'm just going to sit here. What I love about this is we have two experts on. Matt implemented it at his dealerships and has done a fantastic job. He'll even tell you some of his dealerships, and you can go see it. I mean, just Google search it. And Tyler's done extensive research on this. So this is going to be exciting. We did a webinar yesterday on it, and the attendance in the chat was fantastic. So today is going to be one of the best D-Wins. let's get started.
Yeah. Yeah, and I thought we went into a lot of very nitty gritty specifics. I want to talk a lot about strategy today and what are some of the neat ideas that maybe dealers or other businesses haven't thought about, and where we're getting these ideas from, especially, Matt, you're doing it every day. So I'm going to dive in a lot with you. But before we begin, we'll start with you, Matt, and then we'll go to Tyler. Give us a little bit real quick about your background, where you're coming from, who you are, and then we can dive into some good questions.
All right. My name is Matt Kellogg. I'm from Lexington, Kentucky. My background, I've been in the digital space for over 20 years now in some form or fashion. The search side, the social media, and now really at the dealership level. I've been in the automotive in April will be 11 years. So I came from the non-automotive space. I was more in the professional attorney, dentistry, clients like that for their digital marketing platforms. So coming over to automotive is obviously a brand new vertical, but obviously has its own challenges. Like all verticals have their own specific challenges. I've been 11 years now in automotive. I've been loving it. The old adage is that, you never stop learning. And in automotive, you don't stop learning. There's always something changing. When you have multiple brands, obviously different brands have different markets, different segments, different everything. So you have to make sure you're marketing to the audience that you're wanting to attract. And using tools like Google My Business can really level the playing field for a lot of dealers if used properly. That I'm still learning. I'll put that out right now. I'm still learning Google My Business because the thing is, it changes so rapidly. There's new features and functions that you need to make sure you stay abreast on. So, that's kind of like my background. I love anything tech. I love technology. I love these type of events like this because it makes you stretch your comfort level and try to invite other people to join you to share that passion. So. Thank you so much. This is truly an honor. I love this. So I love hanging out with you guys, and I'll answer as many questions as I can to my knowledge, and I'll send it over to you, Tyler.
Well, before we do that, wait a minute. I want to acknowledge one thing, Scott, and I think you probably picked up on it too. You're only one vertical away from the grand slam of the lowest rung on the appreciation factor. You've got dentists, you've got attorneys. Now you're in the auto sector. Now you just got to go do the political thing, and everybody will hate you.
I want to do my best to stay out of that vertical.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Hey, we're in that vertical.
Then you'll know you've hit rock bottom at that point.
We have 100% candidacy win, by the way. So I want to point that out. But Matt, before we talk to Tyler and get his background, specifically, give us the real quick story. How did you and Steve Gates line up, and how did that happen?
It started 11 years ago. I was shopping for a brand new vehicle, and it's when the new Hyundai Sonata came out. We have a Hyundai Point, and I was searching for the new 2011 Sonata, and I love the new redesign, and that really what caught my eye. So I go in. I met with one of the sales managers there at our Hyundai store, and at that time I was traveling all over the country. I was a single guy. I didn't have many roots, I guess. I was traveling a lot, and at that point I was looking to maybe just kind of settle down. Let's get something close to home, and this conversation started. I bought the car, and then when I bought the car, they asked what I did, and I told them, like, hey, we need someone to really help us there. So long story short, they brought me on as an internet manager, back in the internet manager days.
When people thought that traffic was different than other traffic.
Yeah. Right. They were different. Those customers were different.
They're different people. But no, that's how I got into it. So, I really got into the business by buying a car. So all right. There you go.
Now, Tyler, I know your story, but the audience doesn't. So fill us in.
Okay. Well, I'm coming up into my 13th year actually in the digital space. I started back in March of 2008. That's right out of the gate. I was working with an agency, and I really kind of backdoored my way into it. They needed some help with Excel, and they heard about my skill, and I said, okay, let's do this thing. And I really didn't even know much about digital advertising at all. I was familiar with, Yahoo and Google and how the internet worked, but I didn't know how the intricacies of paid search and so on. So since March of 2008, I got my Google Ads certification. It was Google AdWords at the time. Started working with all the different platforms, whether it was search engine optimization, website architecture, just really learning all the ins and outs of how the search engines work and how both paid and organic and websites really are ranking at the top of the search engine. And so I'm a really data-driven nerd kind of guy, and I love the numbers, and I love to make visually story to make sense of them, right? And so anything with numbers and data I'm immediately drawn to. So I really got deeply into the paid search game, especially, but also social media advertising, display advertising. I was fortunate enough to work with some, major companies like GE Appliances, Cigna Health Insurance, and then even the last several years before I came with J&L, I was working with Caterpillar, worldwide and also locally with a lot of their dealers, throughout the U.S. And, it's not necessarily automotive, but there's a lot of similarities there. We're talking about, $250,000 excavators versus a $25,000 car, but you've still got the dealers and the buying cycle and so on. And so I really was able to, parlay a lot of my knowledge into the automotive space. And I've been in the automotive space for about 5 years now, specifically in the paid space. So I do utilize some of my background within search engine optimization and architecture and just the intricacies of the internet. And I think it's really helped me succeed in this space, especially. And the data has really kind of taken it to the next level. And that's really my primary focus is how can we use this data? What is it telling us? And then from there, how can we optimize and make things better?
Yeah. That's
so
awesome.
hey, Scott, do you know what's something unique about this? So the two guys that are experts, right, at digital marketing, really understand, are both Kentucky fans. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
We don't see a lot of U of L fans.
Well, Jamil,
playing the colors.
what we'll do, and I'll report on this next week, is now, Sydney, please mark the time stamp of when that comment was made, and we'll see if the viewership dropped. All right. But all right, first question, guys. If Google My Business is this powerful, and we're talking about the ability to drive unlimited free traffic, high quality leads, right? And we're not talking about a lead here and there. When done right, this is a lot of leads that cost a business $0. If that's the case, then why do so many businesses, my first question is kind of rhetorical, why do so many businesses do it half-ass, maybe start off with good intentions and then don't sustain that level of commitment to it? I think I know the answer. It usually comes down to capacity. We struggle with ideas. We just got things that we prioritize better. And so my question to you is, for those businesses that are out there, why do you think that happens? But more importantly, how were you able to get over that hump as well? Matt, that's probably a better question for you starting off.
Well, I would say your first point, I think everybody looks at the new nice shiny object in the room. It's captivating. You get in there, you start doing this and doing that. And then of course life happens. You get busy, you get pulled in 50 different directions, especially in automotive. You have a lot of hats that you wear. So I think the initial intent is to certainly be upfront, be on it, be totally engaged with this platform. I think to your second point, I think it's once you get into that mode of thinking, you start thinking, okay, well, do I really have to be on it 2, 3, 4 times a week? Do I need to do posts 2, 3, 4 times a week? Maybe 2 this week. It all depends on your mindset of how much do you want to push yourself? How much do you want to really get out there? For me, I've encountered that, and I still have those moments. I am far from perfect by any means.
Matt, let me ask you this question. So I love the mindset piece because I think the math will always follow the mindset, right? It doesn't go the other way around, in my opinion. However, I think the math can help develop the mindset. So when you take a look at some of the analytics off of your Google My Business page, when you are committed to consistently getting content up there the right way, does that help drive a higher level of commitment and engagement for you?
Absolutely. When you use the UTM tracking that Tyler was talking about yesterday, I think there's going to be times that you think, oh my gosh, this is absolutely, we're going to kill it. We're going to kill it on this one, and then it absolutely flops. But then on the other hand, you have those moments where I'm going to put this up and just do like a nice community involvement kind of thing. And it just explodes. So I would say never settle. I mean, data is great. I am right there with Tyler. I love data. I love analytics. I want to find out what made things click and what didn't. I think the challenging and the most giving your own self your own dose of humility is like, you know what, that didn't work, and get over it. Having that mindset of like, you know what, that didn't work. Let's try something else. And then you start finding things that really start resonating with people, that you start continuing down that path. And again, every OEM is a little bit different. They have different mindsets. Again, we're going back to mindset. They have different mindsets and strategies of, do we want to look at more community involvement? Do we want to look at more sales, more service, fixed operations? So you really have to find out. And that's a whole other topic of going down other GMB accounts for service and parts. But for me, utilizing the analytics, that's a huge driver for me. And self-admitted, there are days I'll go in there and I'll start looking at my analytics, and there's times I do second guess myself. But I just keep pushing, and because if you don't, your competitors will. So
I see a lot of times, especially when we talk about social media, I think the same is true with Google My Business. Everybody's looking for perfection, right? And they allow perfection to get in the way of progress, and that's when you start to see people lose interest.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things, like even YouTube, for example. I mean, they publicly tell you, hey guys, while public, broadcast quality stuff is fantastic, we love it, it's great content, it looks great. Majority of the people love it right from their phones. It's just the content generation that's the key point of this. Having the nice microphones and cameras and things, that's all nice and good. But in the end, it's the content and the customer experience, whether they're purchasing or servicing or just looking for something for their vehicle. I mean, they're looking for a great experience. So give them that.
And so this will go to both of you guys. We'll start with you, Matt, and let's take it to Tyler. So, and I say this for you, Tyler, because you're obviously working with a lot of digital clients. Matt, you're working with one group, right? So, right. But Matt, give us a feel for, because you do it well. If a dealership's doing, or a dealership or group is doing well on Google My Business and really truly optimizing it, what type of numbers, from the average to what you're doing, what type of numbers are we really talking about here? And now a lot of your stores are not metro stores.
Right.
So
majority aren't.
You'll be able, well, and that's what I'm saying. So whatever numbers you're about to tell us, if the people are listening right now in the audience that are in larger metro markets where there's obviously a lot more search and things like that, the numbers will just multiply. But give us an idea of the type of success, because this is free to you.
Right.
What are we talking about?
Well, I'll start off with, when you start tracking, and this is where it's so important, because it's so easy to go inside Google Analytics and look, oh my gosh, look how much traffic I got from Google. Well, here's the thing. If you don't use specific UTM tracking, it's all going to be lumped into Google organic listings. So you won't know what came from your Google My Business. You won't come from Google Posts. So for me, I have seen, and I'm just being upfront, I think we're probably at a 20 to 22%, 23% lift. And I say that because now I have the data to show it. Before, all of my Google traffic that came from Google, according to Google Analytics, would come from Google organic listings, or the traffic and the medium. Now, once you start utilizing the UTM codes or the tracking codes on these specific items within Google My Business, then you can start segmenting that data, and not just segmenting it by what button click they clicked on or things, but also see what kind of devices they were on. Then that way you can start custom tailoring your messaging, especially going to the actual ad copy and the content you produce. You can actually start tailoring your ad or the imagery that you use for your posts or things like that to really go after a certain audience. Basic, it could be the audiences that you may be going for are the outdoors or the lifestyle purchasers. You know, the RVers, the boaters, the motorsports type of customers. I mean, if you're going after those people, make sure you have some of that type of messaging going out to those type of people. And then you back that up with the type of tracking with utilizing UTM tracking. So before, I had no idea, to get back to the original point, I had no idea where my traffic was because it was all lumped together. Now it's segmented by utilizing the tracking. So then I can fine tune, and again, always improve, always track, always find out where you can improve. And that's one area that we certainly did.
Hey, Scott and Sandy, let me. I want to ask a few specific questions. So I work with a lot of dealerships, right? And I think most dealerships, or really any client, knows I need to be doing something with Google My Business, but they have a hard time on who should manage it. So I'm going to ask this question first to Matt. Who should be managing their Google My Business page?
Within the dealerships specifically?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know there's an old video on YouTube of the evolution of the internet manager. And, you know, I would say someone that within your organization, and I would say have someone who wants to do more for the company, that understands how important Google or your digital ecospace, your digital space is, especially now. That the environment we're all in right now,
right.
How important digital is, and the experience that, 8 months ago, a lot of people didn't even know what a QR code was. Now, where you go, you have to scan to get your reservation done, to get your menu. So all this stuff, find that tech savvy and not tech. Go ahead, find that tech savvy person. But also, if you have that person who wants to do more in the company, within the dealership, that had shown that they can do it, give them a shot. Obviously, monitor it. If it could be a sales, it could be a salesperson. It could be, or what I like to do in my stores is have Google My Business champions. And having a Google My Business champion in each store. Then that way, every once in a while, I can check in with them. Hey, I really need store level photos. Hey, can you go out and take 2 or 3 nice exterior shots, interior shots, product related shots, service shots. And it could be some of these not even sales related or salesy. I would like, to point out there when you're talking to these, give them the reasons why. It's one thing to tell them, hey, I need to go do this. Tell them why. Then you show them the data of how many people viewed that photo they just took 1 week ago. Then that kind of cements the reasoning why you're asking them to do these type of things. So I would say, to answer to sum it up, it's finding a Google champion, Google My Business champion in each of if you're a multi-rooftop person or store group, find that 1 or 2 people to really help you out, and then have weekly meetings with them to find out the strategy. This is where the whole strategy comes back into play. What do we want to do? What do we want the public to know? Are there sales events coming up? Are there community involvement? Like, this is a holiday season right now. Obviously charities they're getting they're getting hammered right now. What are we doing? We need to let the public know that this is what we're doing. So do that, get your champions, and have weekly people or weekly meetings to discuss what you're going to be talking about and how you're going to do it. What's the implementation of it?
Absolutely. And Squire, you're 100%. Yoda was talking. He is in the house.
Master Yoda.
So Tyler, question for you. I mean, we've seen, so not everybody has a Matt Kellogg, right?
Right.
Matt's done a fantastic job creating these champions. From your opinion, is it the person that also manages maybe the social media, who does the Facebook post, the the Instagram post so it's a cohesive message, or should it be someone else? What are your thoughts?
Well, and a lot of times it is, and it really depends, I guess, on what their bandwidth is and their priorities, because it is time consuming. But you have to look at it as this is an investment that is going to pay off, and it's going to pay off in dividends. And so if they have the ability to keep up with those things, and we're talking about making sure your info is up to date, making sure your posts are posted once or twice a week, those events are posted, multiple photos and videos multiple times a week, but then the reviews. And that's where it becomes really crucial is how are you responding to those reviews? How quickly are you responding to those reviews? So it really depends, Jamil, on what's on their plate. If they have the ability to do all that and keep up with social media, and I mean, absolutely, that would make sense because I think that they have, the most, it really keeps it more cohesive because they can see across the board, everything organically and everything that's going on. And really it kind of builds more of a customer base. But I think, like Matt said, you've got to be able to relay that information to the managers and these directors, because if you're constantly getting, bad reviews or you're constantly seeing, issues somewhere, those need to be addressed as soon as possible. And so, just keeping the communication across the board is really crucial. And we talked yesterday about even having like a weekly same page meeting, whether it's 20 or 30 minutes, and just getting everybody on board. Are we addressing all these posts? Are we making sure that we're getting all these questions answered that we need to? Are we posting the events that are most time sensitive to us? And if the answer is yes, then that's great, because you're going to be able to see almost instantly the results from that. I was looking at some data, and the average business gets 1,009 searches per month on their Google My Business, and 84% of those are discovery searches, meaning non-branded searches. So the better optimized you have your page, the more of a chance that you're going to rank for those non-branded rankings. Right. So, somebody types in car dealer near me or used car near me, and all of a sudden you're posted and you're ranking number 1 or number 2 on those map listings, then that's going to bring in a ton of extra traffic that it's really free in a really easy way. And it's called snowballs from there, Matt. I mean, I know that you see the data on your end.
Oh, and I love the relevancy of that, Tyler. I think, on the discovery opportunities, the relevancy factor with Google is critically important. They're not searching something that you can't fulfill on or you don't offer. They're searching something specific that you have actually included in the content on your Google My Business page, and that's what's driving their eyeballs to your brand or to your business.
100%. The way that these bots and scripts are operating and these algorithms are determining who's number 1 and number 2 and number 3 or so on is all about content. And the more content that you're pumping out, the more positive reviews you get. They look at all these millions of different factors, and they're going to give priority to who's the very most relevant to that consumer search. And the more you can provide, the more categories that you can kind of break down, the better you can tag your post and your videos and do this constantly, you're going to get rewarded for that. And it kind of speaks volumes. Like Matt said, once you start seeing the data and you start seeing the people in the showroom, then you say, okay, maybe we should start looking at this a little bit more.
Absolutely. And we have a saying here that, within my group on my team is that, just feed the machine. Just feed it. Feed the machine, because if you feed the machine, good quality photos, you give it good reviews, you basically look in the best interest of the customer and the customer experience. Let's face it, the people who are searching for a car or a service for their car, they're not technically your customer. They're Google's customer at that point, using their platform.
Hey, Matt, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Does the modern customer come into the floor first, or do they start out online?
Oh, they're all about online.
All right.
All about online.
I just wanted to make sure of that, because we got a great comment up there, and I think it's good because it brings up a good point that needs to be made. Almost 95%, I think it's 92% of all interactions start online, correct?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean that's
so your whole job. Your whole job at the Gates Automotive Group is to make sure you drive as much of that traffic that's online to come into the store so the salespeople have their opportunity. Is that accurate?
Yeah, the Upbus was sitting on the road rusting 20 years ago.
Correct.
So, I mean, it's rusted. It's rusted by now. I mean, you just have to really think about, and here's how I kind of explain it to the people who may not necessarily buy in. Okay. And I'm saying this respectfully. Just think about, take the dealer hat off and put the customer hat on. Okay. And I give this example, for example, if you're looking for a restaurant or a hotel or a nice place to take your significant other, are you going to drive to, Acapulco or wherever to go look at the hotel before you make a reservation? No. Same thing with your buying a car, or you're trying to find a service for your car. You want to look online to see what my available options are. And of course, you better not take your significant other to a 2.0 restaurant or hotel. I don't need to even compound on that. So just think about the consumer experience is, I want to find out, I have a need, I have a want, I have a desire, and how do I get it?
Yeah.
That's what I look at. So if you're going to make it difficult for me to do it, I'm going to find someone else who will help me find my answers.
You know what's also great about GMB and the fact that you can post all this up and not have to spend ad dollars on it is we talk a lot about the insights it gives you and how it can enhance your other marketing and your ad spend, correct? Mm-hmm. Tyler, give us a big picture thing. And when you see dealers that are maximizing that opportunity on GMB, what type of impact is it having on their page? Because I'll tell you what, testing different things on paid search and display and social ads, while if you're doing a good job, you're testing and you're quickly moving away from things that aren't producing the results you want and moving that budget to things that do, right? But Google My Business also gives you an ability to kind of test things and ideas and concepts and offers for free. And if it's there, right, then it gives you a more intelligent way to move it to the other stuff. Is that what everybody's talking about when we say the insights you get from GMB can help you everywhere else?
Yeah, I mean, the insights section of GMB is invaluable. I mean, not only are you going to be able to gain more insights on where people are getting requests for directions, as far as literally a geo map by city of what's going on, but you can also get the ability to look at all the different queries. And so how are people finding your page? And then how are you optimizing your content on your site to be more relevant to those queries? And so, again, when you can take that data and layer it into what you're already doing organically in your paid search ads and everything, it really ties the story together. And so we look at that data a lot and for bid adjustments, especially, whether that's on devices, whether that's by location, or even by time of day or day of the week. So you can see, how many phone calls you're getting, the days that you're getting the most phone calls, the time of the day that you're getting those calls, and you can layer everything together to make sure you're getting the most maximum impact. Because if you know that you're peaking at certain hours, and so let's say your page isn't as strong as you'd like it, so you're not ranking number 1 or 2 or 3. But you can take those paid search ads and you can do bid adjustments and make sure that your ad is coming up at the top. Mm-hmm. Right. And so it's all going to work together, and you're going to get better quality score and relevancy. And even when you can link those two together and tie in the location extensions and everything else, it really just the data supports everything. And when you can use that data and use it intelligently, and so look at it and just say, okay, this is what the store is telling us. This is the photos that are getting the most results, the videos, et cetera. How can we use this, and what tweaks can we make so that next week and next month and next year, we're going to continue getting better results? And so it makes it really easy when you start tying in the UTM tags and everything else, and you start looking at Google Analytics, you start looking at your insights and your Google ads, and then you can look at the end of the day and say, well, we did all these changes, and we're really getting good positive feedback. And you know what? We're getting more traffic to the store than we've ever had before. And you can even get store visit traffic. You can get, requests for directions and phone calls and everything right from that insights. It's really invaluable data.
And the important thing, Tyler, you just hit it right on the head there, is when you start basically layering this cake with all these data points and you start using data as your true ingredients of success. That I think let's talk about dollars and cents, because obviously that's very important. When you have all those data points, and Google starts ranking you obviously by your quality score, your relevancy score, the side effect. Here's the thing: the side effect of you having a high quality score and high relevancy score is you're going to spend less on cost per clicks going forward, because it's looking at you as the authority. So if you're going to be giving Google all this information, it behooves you to do this, because you may be bidding on a certain keyword, phrase, broad match, exact whatever you want. You may be spending or bidding on for, they may be bidding $3 a click, and we may be bidding at $1.20, and we're higher because of our relevancy and our quality scores higher than theirs. So it does truly come back to dollars and cents in the end.
And the good news here, guys, I'll tell you, is that all the things that we're talking about, the statistics, the strategies, the tactics, actually drive a higher rate of traffic through the dealership, whether it be online or through the door. So for those that have a question as to the higher ups and whatnot, you're always looking for more traffic. That's usually what I hear from salespeople. If we just had more traffic, and that's exactly what we're talking about here, just to, clarify things for somebody. Anyhow, Chris Mulligan had a great question with respect to, if you're looking at your Google My Business right now and you've got a lot of work to do, what are the 2 or 3 areas that you would focus on initially in order to get the ball rolling? What's the easiest place to get some lift on your Google My Business page?
Well, I have some data that kind of supports those things, but as far as the SEO, your name, address, and phone number, number 1, 2, 3. Yep. And making sure everything is consistent across the board, making sure you're using your correct phone number and everything is in alignment. But, businesses that use photos, 42% more clicks to directions just by posting photos, 35% more website clicks than a store that doesn't post photos. So there's this easy, simple way right there. Most photos and videos. Positive reviews. 54% of the people that read a positive review will visit your website. More positive reviews you have, more website visits you have. 19% of those people will visit the dealership, visit the actual location from reading a positive review. So not only aligning your info and starting there, obviously, making sure all your info is up to date, your hours are correct, your business name and phone number, all that information's in alignment, but really taking advantage of the photos, the videos, and then reviews, replying to those reviews, replying as quickly as you can, but then also replying to them intelligently, utilizing some little, don't just click the like button or say thanks,
right.
Make it personalized. Say, thank you very much for visiting. I hope you enjoy your 2018 Honda Accord. Next time you need anything, please feel free to reach out to us or come in for service. Very easy, very quick way to get more engagement. And the more engagement you have, again, it all kind of works together. Matt,
Matt, you've got a great process for trying to get people to follow the page and trying to get reviews. What are some of the things that you have found that you've seen that are successful?
So on the review side, we currently use, which is, it's well known. So it's called Podium. Podium. It's an online. It's not just the automotive vertical either. Actually, right. Automotive is a very small vertical in scope with their company. They're really in a lot of hospitality, hotel chains, and reservation chains, things like that.
It's a way, in a nutshell, for those in the audience that don't know what Podium is, it's a way to automate the request to get more reviews, correct?
And make it very easy for the customer,
correct,
to provide a review. It is a paid service, but it's very economical in most instances. So that would be on one side. The other side, though, that is free. Again, we're talking about free. So here's a service that you can do, as actually you can create a QR code. All right. And within Google My Business, there is a link in there. It's your Google My Business profile link. You take that link and you attach it to the QR code. All right. Then what you can do is take that QR code, and again, I want to take this idea from our local awesome business owners here in Lexington. I'm sure everyone else, but for the restaurants, when you scan it, now everybody's getting very, very comfortable using QRs, using their phones. So you take that QR code and put 3 very simple things. You scan the code with your phone, you click the link, and provide a review. Just same thing as like if you're doing a restaurant, trying to pull up a restaurant menu. That is free. So, but there's tons of resources on Google. Just Google QR code generators. There's some that's paid, some that are not. But then the one we utilize, it's a QR code generator that there is a paid fee for it. It's very, very cheap. So I mean, it'd be that
Maddie,
way.
why would you use a paid versus a free? What's the benefit of the paid? I'm curious.
From what I've seen, is obviously it's the data behind it, because if you use the paid version, you actually see how many times that QR has been scanned, where it has been scanned, what device they were scanned it on, and then you can segment that out by Android, Apple devices, whether it was a tablet, because some people do have cameras on their tablet.
Sure.
And then find out at the frequency on what times of the period of the week. So I mean, it's really, really good data to find out. And for one, we all talk about processes. Here's where you can determine, oh yeah, I asked them for a review.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know? So here you can actually see, and Podium has the same thing. They have great reporting. You can see who's been sent the invite, but also on the free side, truly. I mean, if you want to get reviews, to utilize the QR codes. So there's two options on both sides to really generate Google reviews. Those are just two examples.
It's funny. Jamil was telling me about when he and Scott came to visit, and he caught Scott trying to scan that black and blue thing behind you. He thought that was the QR code. This damn thing's not working.
He's the host. I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
I just wanted to add that, Matt mentioned, did they ask for the review? And I just want to throw this stat out there. 71% of people, if you ask them for a review, will leave you a review. 71%, 7 out of 10. So the easiest thing, Chris was asking, another simple thing, ask. Just ask. Just ask.
Yeah. One of the things I thought, and you brought this up yesterday, Tyler, because in the end, it all comes down to traffic and sales. If my closing percentage is 20%, whatever, it doesn't matter, and I bring in 10 people, I'm going to close 2. If I bring in 20 people, I'm going to close 4. If everything remains the exact same, I don't improve, the more traffic I get, as long as the traffic is quality, right? I'm going to close more. And so one of the stats you brought up yesterday, Tyler, was on the photos and I believe the post, and I don't remember it exactly, but it was the number of people that just the amount of increase in phone calls and store visits, which if I'm selling cars, right, that is critical to me. I need more people calling me. It's hard enough with all the research they do today online to actually be able to talk to somebody and have that conversation and convince them why they need to visit our store. But even just the store visits increase. What were some of those numbers, and what made that happen? What made the jump?
Yeah, and I kind of hit on it a little earlier, just the photos. So compared to businesses that are posting fewer photos versus ones that are posting more, 42% more click for directions from photos and 35% more website visits from photos and videos as well. And so keeping those videos under 30 seconds or less, having very high quality images, because think about this, you're showcasing your store online. This may be the first time that somebody has even heard of you or seeing it's the first impression. And you don't want them to look and see some videos that are, kind of sloppy, and these images, they're really granular and everything's not really put together. Your hours aren't updated. It's like, that doesn't inspire a lot of confidence. And having that first impression, having somebody that's really, looking really slick with a nice tuxedo on, sometimes that gives a better idea than somebody who's sitting there with wearing sweatpants and a sweatshirt. Now, I'm more of a sweatpants and sweatshirt kind of guy, but the impression at least is you gotta be able to perceive that and show people off and position yourself as this is what we are and we're experts in this, and give them confidence to come and visit you.
Jamil's he's biting at the bullet here to put a jab. I can already see it.
No. It's okay. But I was actually talking to it was Outside Automotive yesterday, and I was telling them about your webinar, Tyler, and your information, Matt, about Google My Business, right? And the best way I could explain it is your ad on Yellow Pages, which is for free. When someone's searching, it takes up half the page. It's going to help you from SEO, consumer confidence, and it's an opportunity to engage with customers. So with that said, I got a question for Matt and then Tyler. What is the one feature? So everybody knows, all right, there's reviews. Everyone knows that you can throw photos up there. You need to have your name, your information, your address all be correct, right? And if that's not happening, it's just because it's not important at the dealership. But what is the one feature of Google My Business that is underutilized, that when you show people, Matt, their mouth drops and goes, I didn't even know that was available?
I know what Matt Kellogg's going to say already.
The product section.
Boom.
So tell us a little bit more about that.
And I can say this from some mind-numbing experience for the past 18 months. When Google rolled this out initially, the product section on GMB, it was originally a beta product, or beta, not product, just a feature. And unfortunately, I don't know how or why, but many dealers, many automotive dealers were left out of that. And for why I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. But here, literally in the past 2 weeks, so 2020 has given us a lot, including products for automotive. But the product section is by far my favorite because, Google is trying to drive consumers to answer a question that they have. So if I'm looking for a specific model, and I may not be looking for a specific car, I may be looking for a service. And this is where I want to always interconnect the sales and the service and fixed operations side of the house, because they're both equally important and they both support one another. So on the product section, obviously you can put your models of all the vehicles you sell. Within those models, you can actually have an area where you can actually provide good quality 3 or 4 sensors or more. I would keep it pithy, just keep it short. But in those 3 or 4 sentences, offer a lot of value about what that is. Okay, and then that's where the SEO value comes into play. And then there's also a link. People can click from that specific product to your website or to a landing page or a specific area on your site, and you can track it using the UTM codes. So then that way you can start seeing, okay, are people really clicking through from, say, a Toyota Camry to my Camry page on my site? Or here's another thing to go further from that is talking about your service department. If it's tires, it's any kind of service offerings you offer, put it in there. I'm actually in the process of doing that now, since I feel like, I got a Christmas gift from Google. A lot of my stores didn't have this. So I'm now slowly getting all of my stores up on this. But not just on that, but also find a way to, if you're looking at pre-approval, if you're looking at scheduling, just having a scheduling link, a button on there to schedule online service. Now, as important as it is online retailing. Find a way, how can I get from point A to point B? So when they see that, I have a photo of just a generic stock photo of someone typing with their hands on a keyboard. And then underneath that, I have a caption of Toyota to your door. And then once I go into that, then you can go in, hey, start your online experience, delivery to your door, Toyota to your door kind of thing. And then they can click from there right into your DR tool, digital retailing tool, or whatever platform you may use for that. So when you offer those kinds of services and the products within Google My Business, again, it's free. And I wish I had this a long time ago. Unfortunately, Google just said, hey, we're just going to leave Matt and a few of his stores out of this and just dangle this carrot in front of him for a while.
So we got the products, right? So every dealership, if they've made it as far as doing all the basics, need to go on, they need to add the products.
Yes.
And you have it broken out by model, and then you do a little bit of copy. But correct me if I'm wrong, never copy and paste from the OEM site. You want to make sure it's specific copy that you create, correct?
I would do your own personal copy. Again, if it's 3 or 4 sentences, as long as it's impactful, that has some of the key terms. Again, you don't want to, and Tyler, you mentioned this great yesterday on the webinar about don't keyword stuff. If it doesn't read naturally, it offers 0 to little value to the end consumer.
Right.
Because they can go read the same thing on another OEM's website. So offer 3 or 4 sentences. Hey, customer ABC Motors, check out our so that way you're putting your name out there organically, you're putting the service out there organically, and you're giving them the why to service or buy from you organically, and then give them a call to action, whether it's a click through, a click to call, or whatever.
Wow, that's awesome. Tyler, what about you? So we got products. What would you say would be another thing that you could show somebody that a lot of people are underutilizing?
I mean, outside of the insights section and the data that you can gain from that, which is, absolutely critical. And oftentimes it's like, oh, well, that's cool, but you don't really know what to do with it. So it's like connecting the dots on that. But the question and answer section and really taking advantage of that. And so a really good idea I was talking with Matt actually is think about the top 5 or top 10 questions that you're constantly getting at your store, your dealership, and use that opportunity to place those within your question and answer section, because that way you can control the dialogue, right? And you can control the answering and control the questions. And so if people are constantly asking the top 5 or 10 questions anyway, make it really simple for them to look at it and say, oh, okay, this makes sense. And then give them a good, don't make it robotic, but good answer. You'll give them a link to something. Oh, well, how can I get financing? Well, actually, there's X, Y, and Z, and here's a link to the financing options page. Get pre-approved today. Something like that. Just make it really easy. And it's all about providing the customers with a better customer experience. And everybody loves just, the easier you can make it for people, the easier it's going to be for everybody.
The old advertising adage is don't make them think.
So
Exactly.
I just have to say, James Hamilton, very early on, Tyler, asked if when the replay for your webinar was going to be available. And I just said, I normally would never do this. I would not normally just type in, well, you need to go to JL Marketing and go to webinars. I'd actually give him the link. But I didn't want to leave my thing out of fear, since I'm the host on this thing and I'm technology challenged. I didn't want to leave here to try and get the exact link and send it and put it in the chat. So James, I apologize to that. I would not normally do it that way. But hey,
let me ask you about. I'm sorry, Scott. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask because I want to get because Squires had a good question up here for a
while,
and I really think Jamil, you're the one that needs to be asked this question. For the luxury types that are out there that don't like using the term oil change and stuff like that, what would you recommend from a post standpoint or offer type standpoint on Google My Business to kind of substitute that language a little bit?
So Matt, because I know you have luxury stores, you have Lexus, you have Audi. So when you say you don't want to use oil change, why not? That would be, I guess, the question. Matt, how do you look at that?
It could be a couple of ways. One, if you say oil change, that obviously offers up some potential SEO opportunities.
Correct.
Now, if you didn't want to use oil change, you could use something along the lines of automotive service. You could use or a package, some kind of a vehicle service package that includes oil change, tire rotation, fluid top off, complimentary. This.
Like Mercedes does with their service maintenance.
So
right.
So I'm putting up Steven's comment here because the marketing side of me agrees with his intent here, and that is don't try to get too cute.
Yep. Don't
try to overanalyze this. How are people searching? And what they're searching is oil change near me.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure you're also, from a brand standpoint, it's important to build the brand and align with the brand identity. At the same time, you don't want to talk over the head of your customers. And if your customers are saying, I want an oil change, then that's what needs to be said as well. So to his point on that, it's pretty
I don't
good.
think it's talking over the head of the customer. I think, you have to speak the language the way that's typed in to the keyword search, to the Google search, right? So, and there are ways that we can figure out the most commonly searched terms. Is that not correct, Jamil?
That is correct.
And so I would build all of it towards that if I want to drive a higher level of engagement and traffic.
And you can zero down on your location too, based off of that.
Absolutely. Yep. I mean, even in Google My Business, you can see, the top 10 searches for your Google My Business. Matt, I'm interested. I know you look at data a lot and you can give an average. I've shown the product page to a few people, and one guy said to me, yeah, but who's really going to scroll down to that, click products and all that? Do you know on average how much traffic you get off of the products page?
Well, since I haven't had it long enough to really give a good, excuse me, a good analysis of that. Give me about 90 days. I'll always give everything 90 days to see what it's doing. I'm strictly doing it as an SEO value added content.
100%.
I'm not looking at, how many clicks am I getting? We always look at how many leads, how many calls, all this, that. I'm looking at quality of how much more can I feed the monster.
You're looking for traffic, algorithm.
I'm looking at traffic, and I want to keep influencing my SEO score, my relevancy to that. So I'm looking more for that rather than, traffic's obviously very important, but also I'm looking to supplement, this brand new thing that I have now, which most dealers have, but just make sure you use it properly and use it efficiently. So that I should know more in about 90 days or 120 days. But for right now, I'm just strictly using it as an SEO play. I'm doing it the right way. Don't do this black hat stuff. Do it the right way, the white hat strategies. And Google will reward you. They will reward you by doing this effort. And that's kind of the mantra that I go with.
Hey, guys, let me ask you about service specials, new car, used car specials. What are your thoughts there?
Actually, I loaded 5 today on 3 of my stores. So, and they all range. It's not just oil change. It could be this time of year, people are getting frustrated. They're getting those nasty streaks on their windshield. They probably need new wipers.
Yep.
Just those little things like that, just like those needs that come up. I want to make sure I'm out there and in front of them. Obviously, sir, and not just, I put them on the sales GMB, and also put it on the service GMB.
I was going to ask that. I was going to ask you that question: which GMB or both?
Yeah, I do both. And what I try to do today, I didn't because I was just in a hurry to get them up. Which now I want to go back and change this. I typically have 2 versions of the artwork, an A and a B. So I can track how many people clicked on the A artwork and how many people clicked on the B artwork on each GMB profile of my sales and the service. So obviously, if I'm using something with a lot of holiday cheer in it, everybody needs some cheer right now. See how many people actually click on it versus someone with just, an oily, mess or whatever, how many people clicked on that. So I like to do a lot of A/B testing. Tyler knows that. Jamil knows that. But I think, you cannot eliminate the fixed operations out of this because I think right now they're extraordinarily important. Put them up there. Used car specials. It really depends. A Camry honestly is a Camry. Let's face it. An Accord's an Accord. But if you have one of those, especially
I've got 3 Honda stores. Oh, an Accord is not an Accord. And I have to correct you on something, Matt. When you live a life of abundance and cheerfulness, like Sandy Cerami, you can't handle it anymore. Like he starts to get an allergic reaction to it.
Oh my gosh, that's it's hard to keep up.
Known to cause a double chin, Matt.
So I would say on the service side, just do it. On the used car side, if you have those really rare cars that you really want to get eyeballs on, we posted a photo. It was last week, I believe. We already have almost 1,000 views on it. Mm-hmm. And this was just for a Toyota 4Runner. But yeah, it was a TRD Pro. I believe it was TRD Pro. Mm-hmm. But
so Matty, would you say like a super clean used vehicle with ultra miles, like those are
anything like that? Ultra low miles, super clean, garage kept, local trade, and obviously the photos will tell the story,
right?
And that's where the photos come into play.
So let's talk about post. We haven't talked about post, and that's one thing that a lot of dealerships don't ever do. How many posts are you typically doing? I know they expire after 7 days. Who manages that for you guys?
For us, I mean, I do it. Now, thankfully, I have awesome guys on my team that they actually they'll have the idea, they'll get the ideas. Some of my stores Like one guy on my team, he actually does his up down to the sea. Jimmy, if you're listening, watching, thank you for all.
What's up, Jim?
I don't know if he's watching, but I just want to make sure he gets a shout out. And then another guy on my team named Reddy, he actually creates the artwork for a lot of our stores and for posts and things. And so they do both. It's a team effort, truly. But when we get down into it, we try to post as much as we can, but not overboard. Especially right now, it's the first of the month. New incentives just hit for most OEMs. A lot of it, we're just waiting for compliance to get the stuff back to us. Then we can load them. But we generally try to post it. And you brought this up about 7 days. There's a couple different types of posts. Offers. You can set the range and start and end. Same thing on events. What I do, like for example, Toyotathon or Happy Honda Days. Instead of just using a regular Google post, I post it as an event. So that way it stays up for the duration of the event that you dictate. So a start and end date. And then, if there's an offer, so if it's a service offer, you can set the start and end date. A regular post, yes, comes offline in 7 days. So just be strategic about what you're wanting to post. There could be something that you just only want to be up for 7 days. Other things, just to be up there all month. So,
Scott, I was going to say the only other thing that I was going to say that I know you've talked a lot about is getting customers to opt in when they come on the website. Talk a little bit about that. Setting that up and the importance of it.
You cut out. What was the?
How you've gotten customers to opt in when they go on your website for your Google My Business and how that's helped you out.
Oh, for the new customers.
Yeah.
So there's a feature within GMB for those who don't know that you can actually do a welcome post or a welcome offer. And it's only shown to those who actually go to your GMB, and on your phone, there's a place that says follow. When you follow, it's just very similar to like when you follow your favorite band, your favorite artist, whatever, on Facebook and things. Then that way, every time you post something, you're alerted. Or like if you subscribe to a specific YouTube channel, when Sandy throws up an awesome training video, and if I subscribe to him, it alerts me, hey, Sandy just uploaded a video. Same thing with this. But what you can do with the welcome offer is that's kind of like, hey, follow us, and there's something special on the other end. What you can do here kind of ties back into the QRs thing again, is that, hey, follow us here. And actually what we do in some of our stores, I'm still trying to roll this out, is that actually take a photo, a screenshot, how it looks on mobile specifically, and have an arrow pointing exactly where it is. They click follow, and when they hit follow, it will show on their phone. It could be a welcome video. So like, hey, thanks for following us, and to thank you, we're willing to offer you 50% off of your next oil change, or whatever you want it to be. It could be a video, it could be a piece of artwork, anything like that. So that way it will want them to stay engaged with you.
Jamil, there's a way for you to get rid of Mr. Tire.
Yeah, the tire man down in the lobby is staying. Let me just say, first off, Jamil does not know good art. So, we had David Boyle in here from Tire Profiles.
He's not the only one that appreciates Tire Man.
He couldn't stop staring at it. I mean, he was trying to figure out what he could do to get one for himself. But
if I told him what it cost, he would never have bought it. He's in the tire business. Let's just say that. He said you would pay this much for something. I could just go on the expressway and pull a bunch of stuff together and come up with this guy.
So one of the reasons that I love Google My Business is I think about how people are buying cars, right? And if 92% are sitting there and they're saying, all right, I'm in the market now, I'm going to do my research, and I want to pinpoint down, Matt, you brought up Toyota, Camry and Accord. So I want to search those two cars. Accord's near me, new Accord's near me, Toyota Camry's near me, whatever. And on comes your site, Toyota South. And because you're maximizing the Google My Business, right, it just dominates organically on the right side. I mean, it goes on for what seems like forever.
Real estate.
The real estate on that page is forever. And so when I do my searches, the first place I look, and they've trained our eyeballs to do this, right, is go straight there. And because I don't want to have to click link after link after link after link after link to find out where I'm going. And so if I can quickly see what I'm looking for is right here, I'm like, oh, good. I don't have to navigate away from this. I'm right here. And so I think when you're sitting here, listen, the customer experience, we all talk about the importance of that. And the reason it's important is because when the marketplace continually tries to marginalize and commoditize us, right, to get the goods they want cheaper,
right,
the only way that you can offset that is by differentiating yourself, adding more value. And one of the ways, the easiest way to differentiate yourself is through your customer experience. And that experience starts online.
Right.
And so for me, it is a much better customer experience when I do my search and there's the information right then and there. And if I need to click further, I can do it. And I trust, it builds a trust to me knowing that, wow, they've got their act together, versus when I go over and see some business that doesn't have it. It almost becomes extremely frustrating. And for me, when I'm looking for specific information and it should be on the GMB and it's not there, because now I know I got to go back and do all the other steps.
Well, I wonder.
And I just assume everyone's like me.
I wonder, Jamil, obviously there's a reason why Google has created Google My Business. I suspect that the reason is that they keep you on their page, and everything that you're looking at, they're now collecting data in terms of what you have an interest in, so they can now feed you some additional marketing and advertising, post your experience on the GMB page. I'm assuming that's the case, correct?
Absolutely.
And there's no reason to fight it. It is what it is. It's their turf, right? So the point I'm making is figure out what Google's looking for, because what they're looking for is to keep our customers on that GMB page as long as possible to gather as much information as they can. So we might as well make that experience great for them so everybody can end up winning.
Hey, it's their home field. We're playing on it.
100%.
So you got to follow, their plays that they call, and, and they're giving you the plays. You just got to execute them.
Yeah.
And give you the plays.
Bronx to play the Yankees, Matty. It's our home field. You're going to do it our way. That's why we win all the time. No different.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Well, and something that's a little mind-blowing to me is just as of last year, over 50%, over half of Google searches, no click search, because Google's smart enough to present you with the exact information that you wanted. And it's all going back to customer experience. And when you're presented those cards, you're presented the information, you don't even have to click anymore. And websites are starting to get a little tired of it, because it's like, hey, Google's kind of cannibalizing the search traffic. But, well, they own it, so they can do what they want.
That's their objective, yes, no doubt.
Right.
Well, their real objective is to give you as good of an experience on Google. Because if you're not finding the information quick and easy on Google, you'll just use Bing or Yahoo or whatever else is out there, right?
DuckDuckGo.
Yeah. The only time I'm on Yahoo is usually on Sunday mornings when I'm setting a championship lineup, is both of my teams are heading in that direction again in fantasy football. It's a lot like Johnny, the poker player that repeatedly just year after year consistently ended at the champions table, at the final table. And so here I am again. And I don't want to get off on this thing here because I know it gets old year after year after year after year. But in a couple of weeks, come week 16, they're renaming week 16 to week SJ. But I don't like that name because
I understand they spell it differently. They spell it W-E-A-K. Is that true?
No. And so, when they rename that championship week in fantasy football 16 to SJ 16, that is why you all know, you've heard it first here. So All right, guys, we are 9 minutes over, so a lot to talk about, and I feel like we could have kept going, but we want to be respectful of everyone's time on here. Sandy, I'll let you. You always do a great job closing this out.
Well, we got to thank the reigning king of automotive e-com, Mr. Matty Kellogg, over there in Lexington, and he's flying a flag over his shoulder, that Lexington blue. I can see it, and a special thanks to my buddy, the Digital Whiz Kid. Made an impression on me, by the way, at NADA back in February. Immediately knew he was a bright and smart and funny, engaging kid, and I'm excited to share the screen with you, buddy. As for SJ, what do you got? Little U of L? What does that say?
Correct. Don't. My young daughter made this for me, so
That's
you can't.
nice.
Don't comment, Jamil. You're going to make fun of a little girl's gift to her dad. I mean, is that what you're going to do?
I would never. Listen, once again, I want to thank everybody that joined us here today. As always, you're getting value here. This is information you're not going to get elsewhere. I don't know anybody else out there that is providing this kind of information for dealers so that they can differentiate themselves in the marketplace, so they can decommoditize themselves, as Scott says all the time. Jay-Z, I know you're working on something. We're not ready to hatch it, but for those of you that are paying attention right now, pay attention over the next couple of weeks when the time is right. And I know that J&L has a big announcement coming as it relates to Google My Business, and so I'm excited for that to drop. But in the meantime, wish everybody a great next 2 weeks. We'll see you guys again on, I guess, the 17th. Is that correct, Scott?
That is correct. And of course, we got our fourth box trailer about Matt, you've participated in 2 different fourth boxes.
That's right.
One, the private call where we break out the cigars, and bourbon, and we get into deep dives on business strategy, but also the live event that we held here in Louisville, and then did some of the excursions out to some of the distilleries, Buffalo Trace.
I actually I had the honor of having breakfast at Bob's Big Boy with Matty Kellogg and Chris Mulligan.
Oh, good times.
That's right. That's right.
Good times.
That's it.
Frisch's Big Boy, not Bob's Big Boy.
What's it called?
It's Frisch's Big Boy.
That's, by the way, that's
no, it's actually it was Bob Evans.
Bob Evans.
Bob Evans is the Frisch's Big Boy.
Bob Evans.
These are not exclusive.
Bro, we don't have that stuff over here in Jersey, okay? We got diners run by a bunch of Greek guys yelling cheeseburger, cheeseburger.
All right, we're going to our fourth box video. So for those of you who are listening and say, hey man, I want to participate in this, I'd like to talk with these guys and then do it over a nice bourbon and cigar. You don't have to be great at business and cigars and bourbon. You just need to check 2 of the 3 boxes. As long as you can do that, then you're considered. But shoot us a private. We're all over on LinkedIn, Facebook. If you're interested in participating in that, it's a great discussion. It'll be the funnest hour to 2 hours you have of your week. Bring your notepad and stuff. You'll take a lot of great notes, but a lot of great business ideas come from it.
You got to check 2 of the 3 boxes to get on the 4th box. How's that?
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll play this video, and then we'll see you all on the 17th.
All right, step up to stand out, and we're out.
Hey, listen, the 4th box isn't for everybody. It's only for those people that want to have fun, have a bourbon, smoke a cigar, and come up with absolutely ingenious business and brainstorming ideas.
I could do this all night long, guys.
I love to be a disruptor.
The first guy that gets that done is the winner.
You can't get any better than this. But don't worry, whatever happens in the 4th box stays in the box, baby.
This is some good shit. These notes are big.
All right, guys. See y'all.
Great job, fellas. Hey, SJ, I'll catch up with you later on. I'm going to get a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Man, step up to stand out, Matty.
Right there.
Mine right here, baby.
Oh, nice. All right. See you guys.
Yours.
I don't have it. He never sends me one.
I'll send them out. I'll send some out.
I want my T-shirt back.
I think I stretched it out a little bit.
Yeah, I'll see. That's because you ordered a medium. All right, I'll see.